Okay, back from my little lunch break, and here we are going to talk about a fourth topic, and our fourth topic being fan projects finally getting noticed. And now I bring this up due to the fact that in recent years, a lot of what was originally fan projects, like web comics, fan animations, you name it, fan fiction stories, if you will, have all been getting some recognition as of late. Sometimes, if not most times, they've been getting recognition due to the fact that several studios, independent-wise, or even through Kickstarters or Indiegogos or whatever, Patreons, would financially be supported by fellow fans that want to see these projects come to life. And once these projects come to life in some capacity through things like a pilot, a 5-minute animated music video, or whatever the case may be, that in a way will get the attention of some, it'll basically get the attention and be noticed by bigger companies and distributors. For example, one of the more recent examples, one of the most recent examples I'm trying to get at is Kobe. I think it was a Koji. It was a Koba or something like that. I can't pronounce her name. Totally forgot the name, but you know what I'm talking about. The wildebeest one. Kaibu or Kobe or something like that. Kubio. But anyway, that was originally a web comic or web story, fan fiction story, whatever the case may be, and it got picked up by Netflix and DreamWorks and ended up having, within the span of 1 year, 3 separate seasons. So that basically, even in the span of 1 year, shows you that sometimes what is originally a fan project can get some notoriety. It can get some recognition, for what it brings to the table. And obviously, Kobo, that's her name, Kobo, was one of those prime examples. Another prime example is Midnight Gospel, which was also on Netflix. And it was originally inspired. In fact, some, if not most of the dialogue is taken from the podcast that inspired it. So there's that for another good example. Other ones that are showing, getting possible recognition, getting noticed, I should say, by others, are those that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. When I talked about this being one of the topics we were going to discuss. And things like Hell of a Boss, which debuted around early last year, late 2019, and has been picked up by, I think, a streaming service to be distributed all across the board for new episodes and all that. We also have, not Hell of a Boss, but Has Been Hotel. That's the one it was. Has Been Hotel, debuted around early last year, late 2019, and got picked up by a streaming service for distribution on a worldwide scale or a national scale. And then to follow that up, the same people behind it, VisiPop, created Hell of a Boss, which is right now a free YouTube exclusive where the episodes will show up on the VisiPop page. And then of course we have another one called Long Gouch or something like that. Its pilot is supposed to come out within the next week or so, and it looks promising. But the question is, will it get noticed enough to be picked up by a streaming service, or get noticed enough to where maybe people want to back it up more so than before, and it'll just end up following the same route that Hell of a Boss did or has done, and that's basically be a free YouTube exclusive show to where you could watch the episodes, when they come out and for free. It's going to be really interesting. But other projects are also getting notoriety, fan projects. For example, being a fan of Sonic, of course I talked about recently, and depending on how you feel about the guy, it's all up to your opinion, how you feel about him. Gamer Guys 7 Aces, GG7A, did Sonic Rebound, which, as I mentioned in a Reb recommendation video, was basically a loose adaptation and take on the IDW Sonic comic with a few changes to certain moments and characters and all that. Another thing that's Sonic related, that's a fan project that's getting some notoriety as well, along with something like Sonic Rebound, which is going into its second season, is a project that's currently being worked on as we speak, and that is Season Animated. That is SEA numeral 3 ON animated by, well, the group, basically by the people, by the group behind it, known as Team Season, SEA numeral 3 ON. So yeah, and that's getting, like I said, that's getting some notoriety as well. As a matter of fact, in the past year, they actually have been showing a lot more progress in what they're doing, and even showed us, I think, about a 30-second to minute-long clip of what, you know, the product will look like when the episodes, or at least the first episode of this project, is completed. And as I've said before, it looks very identical, if not straight up identical, to what you saw originally in the show, you know, when it aired on ABC, animation-wise. But other projects that have gotten notoriety have been getting notoriety over the past several years. And that's pretty good. Sometimes you'll look at some of these and you'll be like, wow, I can almost mistake this for being something out of the official source. Or, wow, you know, why couldn't they use this kind of animation when it comes to some of the specials of movies, stuff like that. For example, two things that, you know, were fan project wise were done by a group of people called Duo Cartoonists, and they were MLP related, both MLP Princess Luna related and centered, that being The Moon Rises and Children of the Night, which are both pretty good. Children of the Night feels like it's something straight out of, let's say, MLP, basically more with a bolder media-like influence. And Moon Rises is done by Toon Harmony, which is the same program used to help make the MLP movie from 2017. And if that's not enough, we also have I Love KP, I Love Kim Possible Lots, a little animated video that she did with Anthony C. And several other people, where she talked about what was about meeting John Delancey, the voice of Discord. So that was there, and that looks like it's very similar to be, and that looks like, what I'm trying to say, that looks very similar to something you would see out of the show, even though you could tell the animation is still not on par with the show. It's very identical. It's almost like the early seasons or something like that, or like, because you can find this on YouTube as well, the animation pilot for the MLP series called My Little Pony Adventures or something like that. You can find that here on YouTube, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, you have stuff like that, and then recently I even did a review on this. You have Josh Scorcher's, aka Firebrand's, The Folly of Celestia, which originally was started as a fan fiction story over at Fem Fiction, Friendship is Magic Fiction, which, you know, again, Josh Scorcher and I think Luna Kova and a few others first worked on, you know, as a regular fan fiction story. And then over time, over the past several years, started to evolve it into an animation project, which made its debut last year. And I did a review, like I said, on it, and I thought it was really good. And now we have some other projects as well. Going on. There's one, well, there are other ones that have also happened over the past several years. I'll have to find them again and provide, and if I can, I'll provide links. If not, there are some where, you know, it has Celestia going through a mirror to meet Good Sombra, who she's the love interest of. That got introduced to us in the IDW comic. You know, there's an animation that's in English and in Chinese, I think, that you guys can check out. And then there's one that's currently in the work right now that's supposed to be, I guess, as of right now, unless things change, is scheduled for release at the end of this year, and it's called The Clock Tower. And The Clock Tower is a CGI SFM CGI 3D animated short or story where it focuses on Alicorn Twilight, I guess, going back in time to save her friends and who have passed on. They've passed on to, the other life, if you will. And then there's also animation projects. In fact, there was a pilot that came out last year based around Fallout Equestria. So a lot of fan projects that are out there that are getting noticed, that are getting recognition. And it just shows you that sometimes the next big idea doesn't necessarily have to come from, somebody within a studio or someone within Hollywood. Sometimes the next big idea can come from somebody that lives in your very neighborhood. And that's what you kind of see here with everything that I just mentioned. Again, it just shows you how much, recognition fans are getting for the projects that they're doing. In fact, Lightning Bliss, who is one of the primary My Little Pony YouTubers out there, one of the primary Brony Pegasisters, if you will, recently created a website to allow fans to actually purchase items that normally they would get at conventions, but because of what's going on, because of the pandemic, or mostly besides that, if they can't financially be there in person, they can actually get these products sent to them once they order them. So that's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool for her to do. And again, it just shows you the recognition fans are getting by doing this kind of stuff, by allowing the passion for something to become a reality. And again, as I mentioned with several of the titles at the beginning, like Hell of a Boss, which debuted late last year, to Has Been Hotel, which debuted early last year, late 2019. These are projects by VisiPop that are fan-related projects, original ideas, and one of them, Has Been Hotel, which I meant to say earlier, and I corrected myself on that, was picked up by a streaming service for distribution in the future. So it shows you, in a sense, that basically fan projects, fan-related and created projects are getting recognition. Heck, this is why when I go online here and I recommend or I update and I talk about things like Mr. Internet Man's Demonica series on his, DeviantArt page, or I talk about, I think what's her name, Heather or Molly, I think it's Heather, I think. Let me check real quickly. But it's when I also talk about someone like Jack LaCour. That's her DeviantArt name. When I talk about someone like Jack LaCour, I talk about, them in recommendation because what they're doing with the webcomics at times is pretty good. It's actually pretty good. It's gotten people talking. And even somebody that does SFM, CGI like webcomics has even gotten behind and supported Jack LaCour and the Demonica series by doing their own CGI retake or remake on the first story of the Mystic Makeover series, which is pretty cool. So I try to see something here. Hold on. See if I can find it. Hold on for a sec. Here we go. Well, no, it's not Mr. Internet Man. Hold on. I hit the wrong one. Let's see. Here we go. It's, come on, pop up here. Michelle, that's her name, Michelle. This is why I talk about Jack LaCour, Michelle's stories of malleability, metamorphosized to malleability. This is why, I talk about, minor dash alterations, story series out to Monica, or any other series that they're doing. It's because I'm giving them recognition for a great job that they're putting, for the time and effort that they're putting into these stories, and a great job that they are putting on, or not putting on, but, basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm just giving them recognition for all the time that they're putting in to these projects, to allow us to have something to enjoy down the line, or for future reading or viewing down the line. And this is why I also say things like where I believe things like Michelle's Metamorphosized to Malleability, or the Becoming Unlimited series, or even Mr. Internet Man's The Monica webcomics, or Minor Dash Alterations take on them through written work, is it's basically why I believe that if given the right kind of presentation, I would not be surprised if somebody wanted to pick it up to try to adapt it into an animated or CGI series or something like that, Flash animated series, to be seen on sites like YouTube or somewhere else, or even picked up by a streaming site. But anyway, getting back on point, because I know I sound like I'm rambling, I do apologize. But basically, this is why, in my opinion, right now, probably more so than ever, fan projects are getting noticed, because of the fact that fans are letting their passion and their love for what they're a fan of come to the forefront and be noticed and recognized more so than ever before. Because if there's one thing a lot of people kind of complain about, is there's not enough original ideas out there. And some of these might feel like they've been done before, but there's enough originality in them to where people can get behind them and enjoy them. So my personal opinion, guys, as of right now, fan projects are getting more noticed and more recognition than ever before, and it's going to continue to snowball and get bigger and bigger as this year and the next year go by, because some of the projects that I just mentioned that are right now just like web comics and fan fiction and all that, do not be surprised if they get a lot more notoriety down the line and people start wanting to see more of them, as time goes on, and probably want to see them in motion, like with animation or stuff like that. But anyway, though, guys, that's going to do it for this topic. I do apologize if it seems like I got a little distracted. I was trying to think about what I was going to say, and I was also checking out the window to see what's going on. But let me know what you guys think on this. Comment in the live chat. Comment down below in comments. And now let's move on to our next topic.